CNBC's Fast Money veteran Dylan Ratigan drew on his Wall Street experience to rebuke corporate greed and rigged systems, including in an MSNBC rant that went viral in 2011. He wrote the book Greedy Bastards, Taking on Big Finance's Systemic Failures. He launched an effort to curb growing billionaire power over democracy called Get Money Out. He even ran for Congress, losing in a Democratic primary in the district now held by Elise Stefanik, who is the fourth-ranking House Republican. She chairs that conference, so it's a pretty different vision for that seat than had Dylan Ratigan won it. So you can see where I'm going. We thought of him at this inflection point to discuss the backlash to this whole billionaire bubble. And Ratigan's not just a former colleague, by the way. We got to know each other pretty well on his MSNBC show. At his request, I conducted a 2012 on-air exit interview with him when he left. You can see some of the visuals there. It was a conversation that was, like Dylan Ratigan, characteristically plucky, spirited, and relentlessly independent. Ratigan was actually just back at CNBC this month for an anniversary. He divides his time between America and Italy as the co-founder of a European luxury boutique, continues to edit and write as the global editor at Tasty Live, and we are thrilled to bring him back for this conversation. Dylan Ratigan, welcome back.
Incredible that you're still here.
Yeah.
Incredible that Donald Trump is back.
Yeah.
Incredible that we're going to do 12 years with Biden-Trump. Incredible that that's going to define people's view of government in America for a generation. Incredible that you could get more out of the next 4 years than you've ever gotten in the history of America.
Wow. Let me put something up where I want to start. You said something off air recently. You look at the popular vote margins, it's gotten closer over the years. Trump is narrow in the vote. 1.5 points is actually what he did this time. Less than what Biden did last time, for example. But you said, don't just look at that margin. Look at how many Americans don't even bother voting, and they're registered. This is not just everybody. People who are registered but didn't vote in 24. 89 million people sitting out. What does that tell you?
To me, because the American system doesn't have no confidence in the way that a parliamentary system in Italy, in England, in a European system, there is no confidence in the American political system. There's no confidence apparatus. And so I look at the people who are registered to vote and able to vote and qualified to vote, who outnumber everybody who votes for a Democrat and everybody who votes for a Republican, not as an expression of apathy, but rather as an expression of disgust and disengagement for a system that they believe has failed.
So let's go right there, your point. We hear so often, oh, they don't care, they're not tuned in. You're actually reading that very differently. You're saying they care, they're pissed, but they've given up on these choices.
There's more than given up. They've voted no confidence.
Yeah.
I would rather anything, than to participate in this phony decision.
Okay. You know a lot about business. Why are you laughing?
No, I mean, I thought that was funny.
You know a lot about business.
I know some things about business.
Yeah, you do. And you were on a whole financial channel, and that was your beat. And you came over here and you did the thing I showed. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the people at the top, they say things are actually going great, and it's going to spread out and work well for everyone. And as you know, because now we've worked together, I've been around you a long time, I like to deal in evidence, and I like to hear what everyone's saying. So I want to play for you what business leaders, and some of them would say, yeah, Ratigan followed it, but we're doing the work, and we're hiring the employees, and we're building the factories. Take a listen to what they say, which is different than you.
We're seeing an acceleration of activity, particularly on the banking side, which is quite encouraging.
I would say I'm more optimistic about the economy, the country in a very long time.
Because the economy is stronger than, certainly much stronger than we all thought.
The belief in the economy.
A lot of bankers, they're like dancing in the street.
We're stepping into, I would say, the most pro-growth, pro-business, pro-American administration I've perhaps seen in my adult lifetime.
Are they wrong?
No, I think that absolutely is hopefully correct. The two things can be equal at the same time, or the two things can exist in parallel. The people who could vote but don't can be voting no confidence, disengaged with a failing system. And at the same time, the people that are the lead supporters of the winning candidate can also be correct that there's a bigger set of opportunities now to do more than there ever has been, which I also believe is true.
In business.
And in life, I think that politically, with the arrival of such an outside force as a return of Trump with his crew, and including RFK, who I think is very powerful voice, and the rest of his cabinet, whether people like it or not. And I think it's going to create ideas and thoughts and pathways for deals in every sense of the word than it ever has. And that can be catastrophic insofar as the entire integrity of the currency and the economy could be compromised by a lunatic. Or it could be the most creative and prosperous time in American history because it doesn't go out of bounds, and at the same time, it permits for more possibilities.
Does that prosperity, that so-called prosperity, does it
activity.
Yeah, the activity. Okay, returns. We see Wall Street. Does that naturally get out to the,
Absolutely
to the people?
not.
No. Why not?
Because you have different systems. You have three money systems. You have a survival money system, which is a treadmill people can almost never get off.
Yep.
You have a lifestyle money system, which is people that are in the middle somewhere where they're paying a mortgage and they're doing this and they've got to work and whatever. And then you have people that have, let's say, more than $500 million, where no matter what they do, they can't run out of money. Because it's like, think of it like water, ice, and steam. So water would be the solid manifestation of an economy. Ice would be the bottom, unmovable. Water in the middle, and steam at the top, where no matter what you do, you're always creating more money above 500.
Because they can't lose when they're
You're exposed to assets, and all assets are more valuable all the time, and you, by definition, own assets.
And the regular
and there's
work,
nothing you can do to not have money.
and the regular worker is
now paying 15 or 20 bucks for a piece of cheese,
Right.
which is why they're firing the incumbent.
And what,
full stop.
What type of H2O is that? What are they?
That would be water.
They're water, and so they're not going to see that benefit in their paycheck. No one sees it. Go on.
Yeah, nobody sees the benefit outside of the service industry.
When money comes pumping back in because people are spending it.
But the more you incentivize people like Ackman and Musk to invest in solutions for America, to invest in the future of humanity, like to invest in success with the things that matter the most to America, I think that there's a lot that's possible.
Yeah.
And it just becomes a question of how are we organizing that discussion? And is that discussion really what's going to happen? Which I think that's the most optimistic version of the situation, which would correlate to the folks you were putting on television. But it doesn't mean that the biggest voting bloc is the one that's disengaged.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two worlds. There's a world of political parties controlled by wealthy individuals in cities primarily, financially.
Yeah.
And then they have messages that match targeted audiences. And the audience that's targeted, whether it's a city person or a country person or a northern person or a southern person, is targeted as an asset of the party. And the party's objective is to preserve itself, which is why you had the same people over and over. It's why Donald Trump, again, why Joe Biden runs his vice president. It's two institutions that are preserving themselves. And there's no apparent way for it to reform but for it to collapse on itself, and we'll see what happens. I do think that whether it's Ackman or Musk, who I think are two of the better new voices in terms of what's possible, you're better to respond positively and get on the field and go. Everybody can, there's more opportunity the next 4 years to do more interesting things, to solve more big problems than there ever has been, or that's the promise. We're promised a more efficient government. I'd like that. We're promised a government that more quickly deploys capital to solve big problems. I would love that. And so we're going to all find out together how much of this happens. But I think everything becomes more likely, if not inevitable, if we make it happen. But which I know is a cliche. But
yeah, but you view the two-party system.
I think it's time to get in, not out, I guess.
Sure, and but that's also your energy. You're a get-in kind of guy.
I know, but now's a good time to get in.
Okay, but I don't care how cold the water is. You're never the guy being like, it's too cold. If it's liquid, and you know water can turn into,
you're going to
what is it?
My metaphor back? A gas.
Steam. A gas. Yeah, water could, I don't know if you know this. Water can turn into a gaseous state. But if it's liquid, you're going to get in.
I mean, what I'm saying is when you have a new president and a new set of leadership, which is all these tech buddies, that it's an invitation to do things that have never been done before at a time when doing things has never been more possible.
Can you do
and I think that is not just something you do once in a while when the water is the right temperature.
Yeah.
I think it's very rare that you have this much new possibility.
Can we close with a lightning round?
Anything you want. It's your I'm a guest.
In a word or a sentence, the best thing about capitalism is?
Solutions. The best solutions in the fastest time.
The worst thing about it is?
Misrepresenting theft as value creation and pretending to be a value creator when you're a thief.
The Democratic Party
is a corporation.
The Republican Party
is a corporation.
Running for Congress, I learned
that the most valuable skills are character assassination and fundraising to get ahead in politics.
One thing I don't miss about television is
the plaza at 30 Rockefeller Center. Too many people every day.
The crowds, the tourists, sure. One thing I do miss is
wearing nice Italian suits.
When people come up to me and say, I remember you from that rant, I feel...
Say, and nothing's changed. Can you believe it after all this time? I could have said it yesterday.
Wow. Is that what you say? Mm-hmm. Do people still come up to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They think it happened recently.
Oh, right, because it goes on. Well,
it'll return, and the content of that discussion, despite my frustration at the time, I was in the middle of writing the book. The whole thing it was personal.
Well, the internet has no clock.
Yeah.
Someone sends something and say, "Oh, it's here." Okay. And finally,
yes, too many words.
Dylan Ratigan. My hope for this year is
the biggest opportunities yet for everyone that shows up.